Hi guys, welcome to Captain Underpants book 1, chapter 11 to 15. Chapter 11, Fun with Hypnosis. Harold bent down to close the file. Sorry about that. I forgot to put the door down. Whoa, he cried. Look at all the stuff in here. The file cabinet was filled with everything Mr. Krupp had taken away from the boys over the years. There was the sling, there was the slingshots, whoopee cushions, skateboards, fake doggy doo-doo, you name it. It was in there. Look at this, cried George. A big stack of Captain Underpants comics. He's got every issue, said Harold. For hours, the boys sat on the floor laughing and reading their comics. Finally, George looked up in the clock. Yikes, he said. It's almost lunchtime. We better clean up this mess and get to class. The boys looked up at their principal, had been standing behind them to trance all morning. Gee, I almost forgot about Mr. Krupp, said Harold. What should we do with them? Do you want to have some fun? Asked George. Why not? Said Harold. I haven't done any fun in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Cool, said George. He snapped his fingers. Mr. Krupp and he walked up to Mr. Krupp and snapped his fingers. You are now a chicken, he said. Suddenly, Mr. Krupp leaped onto his desk and flapped his arms. Quack, 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 he cried, kicking the papers off the desk. Behind him was pecking his pen and pencil set. George and Harold howled in laughter. Let me try. You are now a monkey. You gotta snap your fingers. Oh yeah, said Harold. You are now a monkey. Suddenly, Mr. Krupp sprang out of his desk and began swinging from the floor ancient light fixtures. Ooh, 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 ooh. He shrieked, leaping from one side of the room to the other. George and Harold laughed so hard they almost cried. My turn, said George. Let's see, what should I turn him into next? I know. Harold holding up a Captain, said Harold. Harold said, holding a Captain Underpants comic. Let's turn him into Captain Underpants. Good idea, said George. Snap. You are now the amazing superhero of all time. The amazing Captain Underpants. Mr. Krupp tore down the red curtain from his office and tied it around his neck, and he took off the socks, shirts, and pants, and his awful toupee. Tra-la-la, he sang. Mr. Crab stood before looking at them quite triumphant, with his cape blowing, and George and Harold were dumbfounded. You know, said George, he kinda looks like Captain Underpants. Yes, Harold replied. After a short silence, the boys looked at each other and bursted into laughter. George and Harold had never laughed so hard in their lives. Tears ran out of their faces and as they rolled around the floor, shrieking in hysterics. After a while, George pulled himself from the floor and pulled himself up from another look. Hey, George cried, where did you go? Chapter 12, Out the Window. George and Harold dashed to the window and looked out. There, running across the parking lot, was a pudgy old guy in his underwear with a red cape, falling behind him. Mr. Crab, come back! Shouted Harold. He won't answer to that, said George. He thinks he's Captain Underpants now. Oh no, said Harold. He's probably gonna be running off to fight crime. Oh no, said Harold. We gotta go and stop him, said George. Oh no, cried Harold. No way! Look, said George. He could get killed out there. Harold wasn't unmoved, or worse, said George. We could get into big trouble. You're right, said Harold. We gotta go after him. The two boys opened the bottom file cabinet drawer and looked out their slingshots and skateboards. Do you think we should bring anything else? Yeah, said Harold. Let's bring the fake doggy doo-doo. Good thinking, said Harold. You just never know when fake doggy doo-doo can come in handy. Harold stuffed Mr. Crab's clothes and shoes and toupee into his backpack, and then together the two boys leaped out of the window. They slid around the flagpole and leaped out of the window and slid down the flagpole, took off on their skateboards after the amazing Captain Underpants. Chapter 13, Bank Robbers. George and Harold rode their skateboards all over town, looking for Captain Underpants. I can't find him anywhere, said Harold. You'd think a guy like him would be easy to spot, said George. Then the boys turned a corner and there he was. Captain Underpants was standing in the front of the bank looking quite heroic. Mr. Crab, cried Harold. Shh, said Harold. Don't call him that. Call him Captain Underpants. Oh yeah. And don't forget to snap your fingers. Right. But before he got the chance, the bank doors flew wide open, and out stepped two bank robbers. The robbers took one look at Captain Underpants and stopped dead in their tracks. Surrender, said Captain Underpants. We'll have to resort to wedgie power. Oh no, said Harold and George. Nobody moved for about 10 seconds. Finally, the robbers looked at each other and burst out laughing. They dropped their loot and fell to the sidewalk, screaming in hysterics. Almost suddenly, the cops showed up and arrested the crooks. Let that be a lesson for you, cried Captain Underpants. Never underestimate the power of underwear. The, the police chief, looking quite angry, marched over to Captain Underpants. And who the heck are you supposed to be? Said the police officer chief demanded. Why, I'm Captain Underpants, the world's greatest superhero, said Captain Underpants. I fight for truth, justice, and all this. Pretty shocking company. Oh yeah? Judge police chief. Cuff him up. Uh-oh, cried George. We gotta roll. Together, the two boys zoomed into the crowd, weaving in and out of the cops and bystanders. Harold skated up to Captain Underpants and knocked the superhero off his feet. George caught him, and the boys skated him away with Captain Underpants on their shoulders. Stop, cried the cops. But it was too late. George, Harold, and Captain Underpants were gone. Chapter 14, The Big Bang. After the quick escape, George and Harold and Captain Underpants stopped on a deserted street corner to catch their breath. Okay, said George. Let's de-hypnotize him quick before something else kaboom happens. A huge explosion came from the rare crystal shop across the street. Heavy smoke poured out of the building. Suddenly, the two robots with stolen crystal emerged from the smoke and jumped into an old van. Did I just see two robots get inside a van? Asked Harold. You know, said George, up until now, this story was almost believable. Well, believable or not, said Harold, we're not getting involved. I repeat, we are not getting involved. Just then, Captain Underpants leaped from the street corner and dashed in front of the van. Stop! In the name of underwear, he cried. Uh-oh, said George. I think we're involved. The two robots started up in the van and swerved around Captain Underpants. Unfortunately, the van brushed up against the giants in his cape. His red cape and caught with a mighty jerk. Captain Underpants flipped backwards and the van pulled him along as it drove away. Grab him, cried George. The two boys skateboarded with all their might towards the speeding van and grabbed Captain Underpants by the ankles. Help! They cried as the van pulled them across through the city streets. Mommy, said the little boy, standing on a bench. Are you sure two robots driving in a van with a guy in his underwear hanging off the back of this red cape, pulling two boys on the skateboards behind him with his feet? How do you expect me to believe such a ridiculous story? Asked his mother. Finally, the van came to a screeching halt in front of the old abandoned warehouse. The sudden stop made Captain Underpants flip over to the roof of the van and crash through the front door and building. Well, said a strange voice from inside the warehouse. It looks like as if we have a visitor. Chapter 15, Dr. Diaper. Until George and Harold hid behind the van until the coast was clear. Then they sneaked up into the hotel in the door and peeked inside. Captain Underpants was all tied up. The two robots were standing guard, and a strange little man was wearing a diaper. Was laughing menacingly. I am the evil Dr. Diaper, strange little man told Captain Underpants. And you will be the first to witness my takeover of the world. Dr. Diaper placed the stolen crystal into a large machine called the Lasermatic 2000. The machine started to light up and to make loud noises. Heavy gears began shifting and spinning, and a laser beam from the crystal shot up straight through the hole in the roof. In exactly 20 minutes, this laser beam will blow up to the moon and send huge chunks of it crashing down upon every major city in the world. Ha ha ha! Laughed Dr. Diaper. Then I will rise from the rubble and take over the planet. Ha ha ha! The only one thing can help us now, said George. What? Rubber doggy doo-doo, said George. Harold took the fake doggy doo-doo and a slingshot from George's backpack and handed them to him. Be careful, said George, said Harold. The fate of the entire planet is in your hands. Shot with careful and precise aim. George shot at the rubber doo-doo through the air, and across the room it landed plump right on the feet of Dr. Diaper. Yes, whispered George. Yes, whispered George. Dr. Diaper looked down at the doo-doo between his feet and turned bright red. Oh, dear me, he cried. I'm dreadfully embarrassed. Please excuse me. He began to waddle towards the restroom, and this has never happened to me before, I assure you, he said. I guess with all the excitement, I just, oh dear. While Dr. Diaper was off changing himself, George and Harold sneaked into the old warehouse. Immediately, the robots detected the boys and began marching towards them. Destroy the intruders, said the robots. Destroy the intruders. George and Harold screamed and ran to the back of the warehouse. Luckily, George found two boards and gave one of them to Harold. We're not going to have to resort to extreme graphic violence, are we? Asked George. I sure hope not, said George. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and oh wait, the comments won't be turned on. Okay, so bye guys.